Hello and welcome to the Fireside Chats with Dr. Childress. In this series, I'm going to be doing a Vita series. And the reason for that is because we need standards of practice in uh, the family courts. And currently, those don't exist, not even to the level of the APA ethics code. And so the idea of actual expertise over here or knowledge applied to the pathology in the family courts is non-existent. We're not even up to ethical standards at this point. So what I'm going to do in this series is take a look at who's over here. It's not systems that are the problem. They are, but there's people occupying the systems and specific people, and let's find out who they are. Um, in my view, the people who are occupying the positions within the various systems around the family courts are disabling the mental health response to the pathology that's in the family courts. Now, I'm going to need to be careful in reviewing people's vitas because I don't want to get in any trouble. I don't want to get in any more trouble by trying to be helpful to the parents and the courts and everybody in the family courts. I should not have to put my license on the line to help people, to help the courts, to help the families, and to raise the standards of practice in professional psychology. Unfortunately, I do because the licensing boards have abdicated their obligation to maintain standards of practice in the family courts. So I'm going to be looking at who's over here, all the various vitas of the people. And there's basically three groups. There's the stray and random people, there's the forensic psychologists, and then there's the Gardner PAS experts, so supposedly. And I'll be taking a look at people within each one of those categories. Now, our vitas, our professional vitas, are our record of who we are. They tell what knowledge we have, what competence, what expertise, and we present them to the general public and to the courts as a statement as to our professional qualifications. So it is fully legitimate for me to be taking a look at professional vitas and commenting and looking at who they are over here. The other aspect of doing this Vita series is to assist family court attorneys and parents as you read a professional Vita. How do you interpret it, and where do you look for issues such as competence in the various domains necessary? And how do you get through all the nonsense that's on the Vita as well? I call them puffy Vitas. They have a lot of stuff, but no substance to them. They're also, in forensic psychology, very narrow, thin Vitas, I call them, because they've only worked with the family courts. They haven't worked with anything in any other aspect of psychology except the family courts. The puffy side is when you look at their literature, their publications or stuff, they're all opinion pieces. So they have a lot of opinions, but their vitas very rarely indicate what sort of training they've had because typically they haven't had any training. They have a lot of opinions, but no education or training to support those opinions. So with that introduction, let me go and start my series of Vitas here. I'm going to start with one of the random people in the family courts that I'm not clear has any role in the family courts and yet is intruding herself into the family courts with her opinions. And that's Dr. Jean Mercer. So we'll start with Jean Mercer's Vita, take a look at who she is in the family courts. And then I'll shift over to the Gardner PAS experts, take a look at some of their Vitas. I'll take a look at Dr. Burnett. I'll take a look at Amy Baker's Vita, some other Vitas potentially within that category to see what their background is. Who are these people in the family courts? Then I'll shift over to the forensic psychologists, and that's going to be the most interesting probably to the attorneys, of how do you read a forensic vita, and to the parents who are looking at competence issues, and you're looking to find somebody to work with your family, or you're looking at potentially licensing board complaints against the involved psychologists for failure in standard 2.01 boundaries of competence. So I am obligated under standard 1.05 of the APA ethics code to take additional action appropriate to the situation. So educating parents and the courts and attorneys on how to read a professional vita is part of that obligation, ethical obligation that I have under standard 1.05. And we'll just take a look at who's over here, see what's up, and see what we can do about then improving the quality of mental health people in the family courts. So with that, follow me over and we'll take a look at the opening vita in the Vita series.